Picture this. Your cat licks cookie dough. 30 minutes later, they're staggering drunk because yeast is fermenting into alcohol inside their stomach right now. I'm Dr. Mary Joy, a holistic veterinarian who's seen harmless human foods kill cats in heartbreaking ways. Onion powder in baby food, xylitol in medication, milk triggering chronic kidney disease. Today, I'm exposing 10 everyday foods that science proves are toxic, but cultural myths call safe. You'll learn the difference between upset stomach and organ failure, the hidden ingredients that kill, and the one food 90% of cat owners feed daily that's stealing years from their cat's life. Hit that subscribe button to join our educated pet parent community, because protecting your cat starts with knowing what most owners never learn. Let me guess, you've seen your cat paw at your dinner plate, meowing for just a taste of what you're eating. Maybe you've slipped them a piece of chicken off your fork, or watched them lap up a few drops of milk and thought, just this once won't hurt. I need you to know something right now. You are not alone, and you are not a bad parent. In my clinic, I see loving, devoted cat owners make these same choices every single day because nobody told them the truth. Here's what's actually happening. While you're sharing your food out of love, certain ingredients are triggering silent, irreversible damage inside your cat's body. And the worst part? You won't see symptoms for hours, sometimes days, until the damage is already done. Let's start with the first food that sends more cats to my emergency room than almost any other. Food number 1, onions and garlic. And I mean all forms, raw, cooked, powdered, or hidden in packaged foods. Here's the mechanism most vets don't explain. Onions and garlic contain a compound called N-propyl disulfide. When your cat ingests even a tiny amount, this chemical attaches to their red blood cells and oxidizes them. It literally ruptures the cell membranes. Your cat's body recognizes these damaged cells as foreign invaders and begins destroying them. This process is called hemolytic anemia, and it's devastating. Let me tell you about a patient I'll never forget. His name was Oliver, a beautiful orange tabby, 5 years old. His owner brought him in because he'd been lethargic for 2 days. She mentioned she'd been giving him homemade baby food to help with his appetite, just a teaspoon mixed into his regular food. When I read the ingredient list, my heart sank. Onion powder, 3rd ingredient. By the time Oliver came to me, his gums were ghost white. His red blood cell count had dropped by nearly 40%. We hospitalized him for 3 days. Blood transfusions, oxygen therapy. He survived, but it cost his owner over $4,000 and nearly cost Oliver his life. Here's the dosing danger that terrifies me. Even 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder can trigger hemolytic anemia in an average-sized cat. A single clove of garlic, same risk. And the symptoms don't appear immediately. You'll see lethargy first, usually 24 to 48 hours after ingestion. Then pale gums, weakness, rapid breathing, collapse. The hidden sources are everywhere. Check your pantry right now. Baby food, gravy packets, bouillon cubes, seasoning blends, pasta sauce, even some broths marketed as all natural. If the label lists onion, garlic, shallots, leeks, or chives in any form, powder, extract, juice, it is toxic to your cat. Vet warning, hemolytic anemia is cumulative. Small doses over time build up. Your cat's body cannot detoxify N-propyl disulfide. Every exposure adds to the damage, and once the red blood cells are destroyed, the process is irreversible. Now let's talk about food number 2. And this one breaks my heart because it looks so innocent. Grapes and raisins. Here's the truth. We still don't know exactly which compound in grapes causes toxicity. Veterinary researchers have been studying this for over 2 decades, and the mechanism remains a mystery. But what we do know is devastating. Even a single grape or raisin can trigger acute kidney failure in cats, and there is no safe dose. I treated a cat named Lily last year. Her owner had dropped a single raisin on the kitchen floor. Lily ate it before anyone noticed. Within 12 hours, she was vomiting. By 24 hours, she had stopped urinating. Her kidneys were shutting down. Here's what happens inside the body. The unknown toxin in grapes damages the tubular cells of the kidneys. These cells filter waste and reabsorb water. When they're destroyed, waste products, especially creatinine and urea, build up in the bloodstream. Your cat becomes uremic. Toxins flood their system. Without immediate intervention, the kidneys fail completely. And kidney damage, once it occurs, is permanent. The symptoms appear fast: vomiting within the first 12 hours, lethargy, decreased appetite. And here's the symptom that should send you running to the emergency vet: decreased urination or no urination at all. If your cat eats a grape or raisin and you see this progression, you have a very narrow window. Hours, not days. The real-world cost? Lily's owner spent over $3,000 on hospitalization, IV fluids, and kidney function monitoring. Lily survived, but her kidney values never returned to normal. She'll need prescription food and regular blood work for the rest of her life. And please hear this: if you've ever given your cat a grape or raisin and nothing happened, you got lucky. Toxicity is unpredictable. Some cats collapse after one raisin. Others tolerate 3 or 4 before symptoms appear. But every exposure is rolling the dice with your cat's kidneys. Don't panic if you've done this once. But starting today, lock grapes and raisins away. Check your counters, your kids' lunchboxes, trail mix, fruit salad. Raisins hide everywhere. Here's what you need to watch for moving forward. If your cat ingests onion, garlic, grapes, or raisins, write down the time. Monitor them closely for 48 hours. Watch for vomiting, lethargy, pale gums, or changes in urination. And if you see any of these symptoms, call your vet immediately. Do not wait. You've just learned 2 of the most dangerous foods in your kitchen and the exact science behind why they kill. But the next 3? Most vets don't even warn about these. I know, it feels like everything is toxic. Like you can't feed your cat anything without risking their life. But here's why this matters. Every single food I'm walking you through today has a specific toxic mechanism. Understanding how these poisons work gives you power. You'll know what to watch for. You'll know when to panic and when to stay calm. And you'll protect your cat in ways most owners never will. Let's talk about food number 3. And this one catches people off guard every single time. Raw bread dough, pizza dough, any dough containing active yeast. Here's what most people don't realize. Raw dough is a double threat. It kills in 2 completely different ways, and both can happen simultaneously. First, the alcohol poisoning. When your cat eats raw dough, it sits in their warm stomach, which is the perfect environment for yeast to ferment. That fermentation process produces ethanol. Yes, actual alcohol. Within 30 to 60 minutes, your cat's blood alcohol level can spike to dangerous levels. They'll stagger, act disoriented, their body temperature drops. In severe cases, they'll have seizures or slip into a coma. But here's the second threat, and it's just as deadly. The dough expands. Yeast activates in the warmth and moisture of the stomach, and that small ball of dough can double or even triple in size. It creates a gastric obstruction. Your cat's stomach distends. The bloating cuts off blood flow to the stomach wall. Tissue starts dying, and if the dough moves into the intestines, it can cause a complete blockage that requires emergency surgery. I'll never forget the case of a kitten named Milo. His family was making homemade pizza. Milo jumped on the counter and ate a piece of dough about the size of a golf ball. Within an hour, he was stumbling. By the time they brought him in, his abdomen was visibly distended and his breathing was labored. We had to induce vomiting immediately and monitor his blood alcohol levels for 6 hours. Milo survived, but it was close. If your cat eats raw dough, this is a veterinary emergency. Call your vet immediately. Now let's move to food number 4. And this one hides in places you'd never suspect. Xylitol. It's an artificial sweetener, and it is absolutely deadly to cats. Here's the mechanism. When a cat ingests xylitol, Their pancreas mistakes it for real sugar. The pancreas releases a massive surge of insulin, but there's no actual glucose in the bloodstream to match that insulin spike. Blood sugar plummets. Your cat becomes severely hypoglycemic within 15 to 30 minutes. They'll become weak, disoriented, and lethargic. Their legs may tremble. In severe cases, they'll have seizures, but it gets worse. In higher doses, xylitol causes acute liver failure. The liver cells begin to die. Enzymes flood the bloodstream, and liver damage, once it starts, is often irreversible. Here's the hidden source list that should terrify you. Sugar-free peanut butter, sugar-free gum, sugar-free baked goods, certain medications, especially chewable tablets and liquid suspensions, toothpaste, mouthwash, even some brands of melatonin and multivitamins. Instruction: check every single label in your home. If you see xylitol listed, lock it away in a cabinet your cat cannot access. The dosing is horrifying. As little as 50 milligrams of xylitol per pound of body weight can cause hypoglycemia. For a 10-pound cat, that's just 500 milligrams. A single piece of sugar-free gum can contain 300 to 1,000 milligrams. Let me tell you about a patient named Shadow. Her owner was eating sugar-free peanut butter straight from the jar. Shadow licked a small amount, maybe a teaspoon, off her owner's finger. 20 minutes later, Shadow collapsed. Her blood sugar had dropped to 32. Normal is 80 to 120. We gave her IV dextrose and monitored her liver enzymes for 72 hours. She made it, but her owner will never forget watching her seize on the kitchen floor. If your cat ingests anything containing xylitol, call your vet before symptoms appear. Minutes matter. Now, food number 5, and this one is insidious because it doesn't kill in hours. It kills over months. Raw fish and raw eggs. Here's what happens. Raw fish contains an enzyme called thioaminase. This enzyme destroys thiamine, vitamin B1, in your cat's body. Thiamine is essential for neurological function. Without it, the nervous system begins to break down. The symptoms develop slowly. You'll notice loss of coordination first. Your cat may stumble or have trouble jumping. Their pupils may dilate abnormally. In advanced cases, they'll have seizures. And if the deficiency isn't corrected, it leads to permanent brain damage. Raw eggs have a similar problem. The egg whites contain a protein called avidin, which binds to biotin, another B vitamin, and prevents absorption. Over time, this leads to skin problems, poor coat quality, and neurological issues. And let's not forget the bacterial risk: Salmonella, E. coli. These bacteria thrive in raw animal products. I've treated cats with severe salmonella infections, bloody diarrhea, fever, dehydration, sepsis. Vet warning: cooked fish in moderation is fine. A small piece of baked salmon once a week? No problem. But raw fish, especially as a staple food, will destroy your cat's neurological health over time. And raw eggs? Never worth the risk. You're halfway through this list. You're already more educated than 90% of cat owners walking into pet stores right now. But the next foods are the ones that break my heart, because owners feed them out of love. Now we shift from poisons to the foods that kill slowly. And honestly, these are harder to watch. Because these are the foods owners give every single day, thinking they're showing love, thinking they're bonding with their cat. And all the while, they're shortening their cat's life one meal at a time. Let's start with food number 6, and this one is going to surprise you. Milk and dairy products. Here's the myth we've all been sold. Cats love milk. Cats need milk. You've seen it in cartoons since you were a child. A saucer of milk on the kitchen floor, a happy cat lapping it up. Here's the truth. Adult cats are lactose intolerant. They lack the enzyme lactase, which is required to break down lactose, the sugar in milk. Without that enzyme, the lactose sits undigested in the intestines. It ferments. It draws water into the bowel. Your cat gets diarrhea, soft stool, mucus in the litter box. Now, you might be thinking, it's just diarrhea. That's not deadly. But here's the chronic consequence chain that veterinarians see every day. Diarrhea leads to dehydration. Dehydration stresses the kidneys. Over months and years, that chronic kidney stress contributes to chronic kidney disease, the #1 killer of senior cats. Does your cat have soft stool? Do you see mucus or undigested food in the litter box? Stop the dairy today, right now. The cultural myth runs deep. We've been feeding cats milk since the 1800s, but just because we've done something for generations doesn't make it safe. Cats can survive on milk. But surviving is not the same as thriving. If your cat loves dairy, try lactose-free options designed specifically for cats. They exist. Or better yet, give them water. Fresh, clean water. That's what their bodies actually need. Now, let's talk about food number 7. And I see this one constantly in my clinic. Tuna, fed daily as a staple. Here's the truth that's going to upset some people. Tuna is cat junk food. Let me explain the mechanism. Tuna, especially canned tuna meant for humans, is dangerously high in mercury. Mercury is a heavy metal that accumulates in tissues over time. It damages the kidneys and the nervous system, but it doesn't stop there. Tuna is also extremely low in thiamine. Remember thiamine? Vitamin B1, the one we just talked about with raw fish? Well, canned tuna has the same problem. Feed it daily and you're creating a thiamine deficiency, loss of coordination, dilated pupils, seizures. But here's the third problem, and this one is brutal. Tuna is loaded with polyunsaturated fats. When cats eat too much of these fats without enough vitamin E to balance them, they develop a condition called steatitis, also known as yellow fat disease. The fat under their skin becomes inflamed. It forms painful lumps. Your cat will cry when you touch them. They'll refuse to move. I treated a cat named Whiskers 2 years ago. His owner had been feeding him canned tuna every single day for over a year. She thought she was giving him the best. He came in with lumps all over his abdomen and hindquarters. He hissed when I palpated his belly. The inflammation was so severe, we had to hospitalize him for pain management and anti-inflammatory therapy. Here's the frequency rule. Tuna once a week as a treat? Fine. Tuna daily? You're poisoning your cat. And please, if you feed tuna, make sure it's tuna packed in water, not oil. And never, ever feed tuna meant for human consumption as your cat's primary diet. Use tuna designed for cats, fortified with the vitamins they need. Now we move to food number 8. And I see this every single Thanksgiving. Fat trimmings and raw meat. Here's what happens when your cat eats a large amount of fat. Chicken skin, bacon grease, turkey drippings. Their pancreas becomes overwhelmed. Digestive enzymes activate prematurely. Those enzymes start digesting the pancreas itself. This is acute pancreatitis, and it is excruciating. Your cat will vomit. They'll adopt a hunched posture because their abdomen is in agony. They'll stop eating. They'll become lethargic. And if you don't get them to a vet immediately, pancreatitis has a 50% mortality rate. The hospitalization cost? $2,000 to $5,000. IV fluids, pain management, anti-nausea medication, nutritional support, and some cats never fully recover. They develop chronic pancreatitis that flares for the rest of their lives. Now let's add the raw meat risk. Toxoplasma, Salmonella, E. coli. These parasites and bacteria thrive in raw animal tissue. I've seen cats develop life-threatening sepsis from a contaminated raw diet. Let me tell you about Bella, a beautiful calico. Her owner was feeding her a homemade raw chicken diet because she'd read it was natural and ancestral. Bella contracted salmonella. She developed bloody diarrhea, fever, severe dehydration. By the time she came to me, she was in septic shock. We couldn't save her. Her owner sobbed in my arms. "I thought I was giving her the best," she said. "This is why I make these videos. Love isn't enough. We need educated love. Vet warning: if you insist on feeding raw, work with a board-certified veterinary nutritionist. Get the bacterial testing. Follow food safety protocols religiously. But understand, you are taking a risk every single time. 2 more foods, and one of these will make you check your pantry tonight.